Welcome. My name is Catherine, and today we'll discuss three bands who became successful in the 80s. To begin, I'm going to show you an album, and let me know if you know who the two musicians on the front cover are. If you know the answer, you can post it in the comments now, and I will reveal the answer when I cover this band in the third part. They'll be the third band I cover. The first band is Duran Duran. So I went to their concert in May of 2023, and it was a very good show. They are very skilled musicians and they did a good job. And a little background on Duran Duran before I show you my two favorite albums. Duran Duran are an English rock band formed in Birmingham, England by keyboardist Nick Rhodes, guitarist and bass guitar player John Taylor, and their first lead singer was Stephen Duffy. The following year they hired Roger Taylor as drummer, and the most famous lineup of this band is the addition of lead singer Simon Le Bon and lead guitar player Andy Taylor. So my first album I'm going to show you today is, of course, Rio, their best-selling album. It was released May 10th of 1982, and it is their second studio album. The singles are Hungry Like the Wolf, Save a Prayer, and the lead single, Rio. The album title was the idea of bassist John Taylor. It was taken from the city of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And the cover artwork is by Patrick Nagel. And the design is by Malcolm Garrett, and it's made to resemble a 1950s cigar package. And it's considered one of the best album covers of the 80s. So this album sold 2 times platinum in the US, and in Australia and the UK it went platinum. So my favorite songs on here are Rio, Hold Back the Rain, and Last Chance on the Stairway. And of course I do like Hungry Like the Wolf. And actually the whole album is great. Every single song on here, I like every single one, but those would be my 4 favorite. So that is Rio. The next album is their third studio album. It's Seven in the Ragged Tiger, released November 21st of 1983. The 7 in the title refers to the band members and their 2 managers. And the term Ragged Tiger symbolizes hard work and success. And they were a very hard-working band. And again, the cover design is by Malcolm Garrett. And on the back, we have a Asian antique map, which is really beautiful. The singles on this album: Union of the Snake, New Moon on Monday, and The Reflex, which was their first #1 song in the USA and also in the UK. And it sold 8 times, it sold 2 times platinum in the US, platinum in the UK, and Australia, Canada went 3 times platinum. And my favorite tracks on here, I absolutely love the song New Moon on Monday. I love how Simon sings that chorus and the band members with him. The Reflex is a catchy dance song. I like that one too. I like the song I'm Looking for Cracks in the Pavement. And Shadows on Your Side is another fast track or fast moving dance track. I like that one also. So I have 2 Duran Duran books. The first one is John Taylor's book. It's called Love, Death, Duran Duran in the Pleasure Groove. And this came out in 2012. And I really enjoyed this book. He wrote it. What prompted him to write it was the death of his parents. So there's actually about 3 parts in this book. The first part is John's early life, childhood growing up in Birmingham, England. And part 2 is the formation of Duran Duran, and also what the music scene was like in the late 70s and early 80s. And then part 3 I thought was very moving. It's things that were happening in John's personal life. He had to seek treatment for drug and alcohol addiction, and it talks about how he maintained his recovery. And John has been sober for at least 30 years. And he said doing this changed his life and made him a lot happier. He talks about his marriages. He was married twice, or he was married twice and once divorced. And John is a father of 1 daughter and 2 stepchildren. And John Taylor currently lives in Los Angeles. The second publication I have is this Life magazine that came out when they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2022. I call it a picture biography. It's like my Duran Duran Cliff Notes. And there are many great photographs in here. And I'll show you 2 favorites. So they said at their concert they enjoy playing in Seattle. It's usually the first stop on their tour. And their first concert was in New York, but they've often played in Seattle, and they really like Seattle. And you can see that John Taylor is wearing a Seattle t-shirt. And the next picture I'm going to show you is the last time they were here was 2014. And they actually put a picture of them on the stage when they played in Washington. So this venue was in Everett, Washington at the Event Center. I think it was their astronaut tour. So those are the Duran Duran things I have in my collection. The next group I'm going to cover is the Thompson Twins. They're a British pop band formed in 1977 in Sheffield, South Yorkshire, England. And the band name came from a comic strip about 2 detectives, Thompson and Thompson. And the comic strip was called The Adventures of Tintin. The best known lineup are the 3 members from 1982 to 1986. We have Tom Bailey, who's the lead singer and piano and guitar player. Alana Curry is his wife. She plays saxophone, keyboards, drums, and percussion. And the 3rd member is Joe Leeway. He plays keyboards, congas, drums, and backing vocals. And the Thompson Twins became prominent in the U.S. 1982 British invasion. In 1985, they performed at Live Aid in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They were joined on stage by Madonna. And I saw an interview with Tom Bailey, and he told the story about this. She was a fan of their music, and they were backstage, and she approached Tom and said, "May I sing backup on your hit song, Hold Me Now?" And he said, "How could I say no to Madonna?" So the album I have by the Thompson Twins is called Sidekick, and this is a US copy. So the UK copy had a different title. It was called Quick Step Sidekick, and it was released February of 1983 on the Arista label. And the UK track listing was in different order. So the singles on here are Lies, Love on Your Side, We Are Detectives, and Watching. And my favorite tracks on here, I have the A side, I like Love on Your Side, and Lies. They're two catchy dance songs. And on the B side, there's a song I like. It's called If You Were Here. And this was used in the movie Pretty in Pink. And it's just a nice, it's kind of a soft rock song. But the use in that movie made the song famous, even though it wasn't a single. And I'll show you the back of the album. It shows the three band members. And I also have a CD of the Thompson Twins. This is their greatest hits. So I don't have their best-selling album, Into the Gap. I passed it up at the record store one time because I found others that I liked better, and I just can't spend too much money at once. But someday I'll pick it up. So this album gives me songs from Into the Gap. It gives me Hold Me Now, You Take Me Up, and then their album from '85, Here's to Future Days, the song Lay Your Hands on Me and King for a Day. And Lay Your Hands on Me is my favorite Thompson Twins song. I just love how upbeat that song is and how Tom Bailey just belts out that chorus. And Tom Bailey is a talented musician and frontman with excellent stage presence. He studied classical guitar and piano, and I think the three members, Tom, Alana, Joe, have good vocal harmony. The Thompson Twins disbanded in 1996, and Tom and Alana became parents, and he became a producer. And in 2018, Tom released a solo album called Science Fiction. And my favorite song on this record is track 9. It's called Bring Back Yesterday. So I do like the Thompson Twins. Their music is a lot of fun. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys the answer to the quiz. This album is called The Graduate. And it was a new wave English band formed in 1978 in Bath, England. And the album title is called Acting My Age. And it was released on Pi Records. Now I'll name the band members. We have Roland Orzabal, vocals and lead guitar, Kurt Smith, bass guitar and vocal, John Baker, rhythm guitar and vocal, Steve Buck on keyboards, Andy Martson on drums. So the answer, as I just mentioned the band members, Roland and Kurt, they eventually became Tears for Fears. So The Graduate was Roland and Kurt's first band. And I'll tell you a little background on this. It was only released in the UK, Germany, and Spain. The first single was called Elvis Should Play Ska, and it's referring to Elvis Costello. It reached number 82 on the UK charts. And in April in 1980, it charted a little higher in Spain at number 10. And there's another single called Ever Met a Day, and it was performed on a children's show called Runaround in England. And I actually heard that song when I was listening to Spotify. I had made a new wave playlist and it came to the end and they started recommending songs to me. So I heard this song, Never Ever Had a Day. And I thought, I've never heard this song before, but I sure recognize those voices. So I looked it up and I learned who it was. And this album is available to stream, though there was actually a second album. So what happened is they tried to tour to promote this album, and they didn't get any support from their record label. And it was really an unpleasant experience. They drove around all over Europe, or all over Germany, and then to Spain. And they didn't have any roadies or anything, so they didn't enjoy it. And in 1981, they disbanded. So if you look this up on Spotify, the last single on here, let's see, there's about 8 songs. So the second album is included on the Spotify playlist, but I just feel like those songs aren't as strong as the ones on this album. And there were only 20,000 of this record pressed. So I'm glad I have this in my collection. And I got it off of Discogs. I was curious if anybody had one out there for sale, so I went on Discogs after I heard the song when I was listening to it on Spotify. And there were 4, and one of them was in the US, so that kind of made my day. So I ordered it, and he didn't charge me a lot for it. It was about $20 plus shipping. So that's how I ended up getting that album in my collection. And I consider it kind of a unique album since it was never released in the US. And I had never heard of it because how could I when it was never played on radio in the US? So I also have a Tears for Fears greatest hits. So their first album that was released in '83, it was called The Hurting. So it gives me the songs Mad World, Change, and Pale Shelter. And then there's Seeds of Love. In 1989, I get Sowing the Seeds of Love, Women in Chains, and Advice for Young at Heart. And I hope someday I can find that 1989 album. But their first album, The Hurting, I kind of feel like it's a little depressing, so I don't really want it. But those 3 singles are great. In fact, I absolutely love Mad World. And I have the sheet music for it. So here's the sheet music, and it's in the key of E minor. And you can see it's not a hard song to play. It's really easy, actually. But I just think it's a really cool song, and it's a sad song that doesn't make me sad. So those are the 3 bands. I totally love their music. I love listening to Duran Duran's music, and I put Thompson Twins on the turntable here and there too. I like all these bands. So thank you for watching. I want to say thank you to my new subscribers, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.